Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today I'm going to be sharing 3 tips to help you invest in your reading life. Here we go. Let's get right into it. My first tip for investing into your reading life is to learn the lingo. There are so many unique terms floating around the bookish community that it can get a little confusing. So I think it's a good idea to do a little research and learn some of these terms for yourself. Words like fiction, nonfiction, genre, trope, TBR, DNF, and backlist, those can all be helpful for you on your reading journey. I also think it's important to know what other people in the book community are talking about when they say they DNF'd a book, so they did not finish it, or they added a book to their TBR, meaning their to be read list. Another term that I didn't know when I first started was the term backlist, and all that means is that authors have a list of books that they've written, and the books higher up on the list, the newer ones, those are their new releases, and then the books farther back in time would be their backlist. A lot of people will find an author that they like and then try to read all of their backlist. I think a general knowledge of all these terms will be really helpful, especially in the next 2 tips I'm about to share. Tip number 2 would be to read a lot. So I have a couple ways you can do this. So I think it's really important to read a lot of different genres. You may have one genre that you really love. Like, for example, my genre that I loved at the very beginning and still do was historical fiction. But there are so many other books to read that you don't want to be limited to just that one topic. I think that great readers are built by reading a variety of genres. Try something out of your comfort zone. There are ways to do this that are a little less intimidating. Let's just say you want to try reading science fiction. Maybe that's something a little bit out of your comfort zone that you can try to expand. So I would recommend starting with a middle grade. A lot of times, if you're intimidated by the adult version of a genre, the middle grade is going to be kind of like that genre light. So to get sci-fi light, you might try to read a middle grade sci-fi. For example, I read the book Alone, and it is a middle grade science fiction. It really got me to want to try to expand the number of science fiction books I read, even though at the beginning of the year I would have told you I would never read a science fiction book. Another way that I have found that you can read a lot is to read more than one book at once. I know this sounds really difficult at first. I was talking to my husband about this today before I filmed this video, that this was going to be something I'm passionate about and wanted to share, and he was like, I can't read more than one book at a time. My brain can't follow that. And I said, yes, you can. You just have to practice. So you start with maybe 2 books and you read them, and you will get used to reading more than one book at a time. That's how I started. I started 1 book, physical copy, and 1 audiobook. And I read both of those at the same time. And then I upped it to 2 physical books and 1 audiobook. And now I probably read 3 physical books and 3 audiobooks at the same time. So I just kind of rotate through them. I learned about this from Kristen at Delightfully Feasting on Instagram. She teaches that, when you read more than 1 book at a time, the ideas start to connect to each other. So you may read something in a nonfiction book and then also see that idea in a different way in one of the fiction books that you're reading. And that's really, really cool as a reader to see those connections of ideas. Another way to increase the amount that you read is audiobooks. And I know this isn't for everyone, but if you can listen to audiobooks and take them in through your ears instead of through your eyes, you can get in a lot more books in a lot less time. I have found that that is a really good way for me to increase the number of books I read, and they're fun to listen to a lot of times. If you can find books that have good narrators, that makes it even better. Also, if you increase the speed at which they are read, you will get through a book faster. And that can be intimidating too at first. When I first started reading audiobooks, I probably read them at like 1.5 speed. And now I read them, most books I read at 2.5. Just depends on if there's a narrator with an accent, and I'm building that up, and that comes with practice, right? So you can teach your brain to listen to audiobooks and take them in at as high of a speed as you want to. I think that the more that you practice with these tips, the better you'll get at them. And as you track your books, you will see and be amazed at how many books you can read. There are so many books out there and so little time to read them in that I will take advantage of any way possible to get them into my brain so that I can keep advancing in my reading life and have a wide variety. All right, y'all, my third tip is to follow other readers. This is one of the most important things you can do to invest in your reading life. The bookish community is so big and so wonderful and so varied. You can learn so much from other readers. So whether it's BookTube, Bookstagram, podcasts, I can link some of my favorites below in the description. Those are great ways to expose yourself to a huge variety of readers and books and find new things that you might like. You never know what you'll find there, and I think if you, again, keep things varied, you want to follow different kinds of booktubers. You know, some booktubers read romance, and some booktubers focus on science fiction, and some read a variety. You can get great recommendations there, and you never know where those recommendations are going to lead you as you discover new authors and new genres. Another great way to connect with other readers is at the library and at bookstores. Librarians are a wealth of knowledge, and they can direct you to where you could go no matter what you might think you want to read. They are readers, and they can help you expand your reading life. The library will set out books, maybe in themes, or kind of like on the end caps, they'll pull out books that they think are great. And you never know what you'll find there. I think it's important to have, a day every week or every other week to go to the library and just look at books and immerse yourself in the environment of being around books and other people who love books. And that is always a good investment of your time. And then I think bookstores are wonderful as well. I went to a bookstore recently and was just looking around. There was one book that I was looking for, but I was also trying to add a couple others, and just looking through the local authors section. I found a book that's set near where I live, and when I took it up to the register to buy it, the person checking me out said, "Oh my gosh, this author was just here, you just missed her." And she was telling me about the author, and then she gave me some other books to read if I liked this current book that I was buying. And walking around a bookstore, that is truly my happy place. Okay, so those are my 3 tips for investing in your reading life. Now I'm going to end with a kindness quote. Today it is a quote from Princess Diana that says, "Carry out a random act of kindness with no expectation of reward, safe in the knowledge that one day someone might do the same for you." So go out there and be kind to someone today, y'all.